Welcome to Narratives and Nightcaps, Books, Beverages, and Author Conversations. I'm Bree.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Megan.
Well
back.
done. Here's to that.
Woo!
365 days and we nailed it.
And we nailed it. Great work. Cheers.
So accomplished.
Yes.
Welcome to our final episode of 2025, where we are going to be sharing with you a few of our top reads for the year, the books that have stayed with us, the ones we can't get out of our head after reading this year. And if you haven't read them, they 100% better be on your TBR after this episode, because it means that we've talked about them multiple times at this point. So, like, what a year. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Does anybody have any just random highlights they want to share?
I'm like full of emotion, like as we hit record, and then it's like, oh my gosh, this is, I mean, obviously, like, it's, listener, like the podcast isn't going anywhere. We have such exciting things coming up for 2026, and like it's gonna be an amazing year, but it's so weird to think we are like getting ready to say goodbye to 2025 and that this is like year-end wrap-up episode. I don't know. It's very humbling and it's crazy. So I love all of you ladies and I'm super, super excited because it's just so
nice.
Little T-Swift heart for that. Has anybody started watching her docuseries?
No, don't say anything.
No, not yet.
What?
You haven't?
No, shh.
This is a spoiler-free
Don't even talk about it.
So
I
many
thought we were
levels.
friends.
I mean, obviously, like, Jordan, I only have so much time in a day. And here's the problem, and Emily, maybe you get this. Bree, I feel like you get this too, because you just love to go to bed at a reasonable hour. But, like, I physically cannot keep my eyes open past, like, 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Oh,
So
no.
I know if I start something, even if I love it, even if it's Taylor Swift, I will not be able to stay awake for it.
That's completely valid and 100%. Like, I have had people ask me, like, when do you read? How do you read? Like, I don't understand. And I'm like, well, I have to be very intentional.
Yes.
I know that I'm a morning person. So guess what, listener? Yes, that means your girl wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Why? Because she likes her peace and quiet. She likes her cup of coffee. She can sit down, have some quiet. She can read. And yeah, that typically means maybe I'm reading a chapter or two in bed to wind down between 8 and 9:30 p.m. But before 10, your girl's eyelids are closed.
I'm with you, Megan. Like 9:30 is my drop dead bedtime. Like it's gone. And I think, Jordan, to your point, the only way that I've been able to get so much reading done lately is I have gotten to a point where my toddler now will only go to sleep if I am sitting up in his bed reading my book, which works out beautifully for like everybody involved. But it took some time to build that into the routine. So like I get 45 minutes while he's trying to fall asleep.
There you go.
Reading my book, right?
That's
And I like
pretty cozy setup. Do
and
you
like-
have like a little reading chair in his room or anything?
Oh, no, okay, question. So no, he's got a twin bed. Like we've transitioned him to a big boy bed. That's what Santa brought last year, was his big boy bed.
Aw, fun.
But it's like in a corner in his room to maximize like play space. So it actually works out that I just use a pillow to like prop myself on the wall, like so I'm on the end of his bed, like propped up with a pillow, reading, and then he's not tall enough to fill out a twin bed. So there's enough room for me to sit and him to like go to sleep. Yeah.
Nice. My question was, because are you a Kindle gal?
Kindle or physical, depending on.
So if you do physical, do you have like a little book light?
The most genius night light ever. Have you seen the Pebble flip over lights?
No.
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Link coming to group chat like immediately after this. I used it. It was like my number one used item, second time postpartum with like nursing and like feeding in the middle of the night. But looks like this little rock, like no bigger than your computer mouse, basically. And you turn it over to turn it on and turn it back over to turn it off. And then if you like hold it down, like it's got a little squishy top, it will go brighter or dimmer. And so it's the easiest, like, my toddler loves it because he can control, like, you just flip it over or flip it back, like on off, and it's super dim. So that's what I use when I'm reading a physical book, because he could, like, it's so funny. He now goes like, Mama, I got your book and here's the light. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the light, close your eyes. Like, so he's totally into the whole like routine. I'm like, thank you, bud. We'll train.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that for you and for him.
So that's the only reason, though, to circle back. I think, Jordan, what you were saying, that like I've been able to get reading done recently, but really this year, is training my toddler that mom reads while you nap.
Such a good deal. No kids, but everybody knows this. Like I love an early bedtime, man. It's just, and when we have our late night recordings and we wrap up, I'm like, sorry guys, can't chat. Gotta go.
Bedtime.
Yeah.
Gotta go to bed. But Jordan, I second everything that you said. Like, I think every year of this podcast has surprises in store, and this one was no exception to that, but in the best way. I'm so thankful for all of you and for everyone that's like listened to the show. But I know with Toast and Tales, like we had a lot of comments too, and people had some really great feedback. And I just kept telling them, I'm like, it's a team effort, it's a group effort, it's everybody. And so I'm really just excited about this team and really looking forward to what's in store for 2026 too.
Oh my gosh. So exciting. And it's only 2 weeks away, ladies. Is that not just the wildest thing?
Yeah, that's insane. My son kept asking, when's Santa coming? And today I was like, 10 days. 10 days. He'll be dropping by that night in 10 days. I'm like, so everyone get your shopping finished. Do what you need to do. Hint, hint myself.
It's like
I think this episode comes out on Christmas Eve, so
perfect.
at this point, you can do some last minute shopping, grab it.
Yeah, wonderful Christmas, listener.
Yeah.
Yep.
What?
No matter what happens, it's going to be a great Christmas, and if you need to, snag a gift card.
Yep.
Yep,
Or I'm sure
exactly.
your like local Walgreens will be open.
My sister, I still laugh to this, and so shout out Katie if you're listening. She and her like best girlfriend growing up, they would go and do Operation Procrastination. So they would like intentionally not like go Christmas shopping basically until, Christmas Eve or the 23rd. And they called it Operation Procrastination. And then they would go to the mall together and like run around like crazy and like make it a whole thing.
That gives me so much anxiety just hearing this. I'm sorry. I can't.
That absolutely would be me, but it was just we always chuckled at their little tradition.
Hey, listen, if it works for them, no judgment. That is not.
I feel like there's a book in there somewhere.
Right? And you got a
that's a great
title,
title.
Operation
Yes,
Procrastination.
that's a good,
like,
yes.
you know,
I like this.
I don't know, maybe I'll throw this out there, like B.K. Borison, if you're listening, maybe that's an upcoming Christmas romance novel.
Yeah.
I dig it. I dig it.
Quirky holiday,
You know who could write
meet
the heck
cute.
out of that
Yes.
too is Lucy Score.
Oh,
Lucy
there you go.
Score could write the heck out of that.
Yep. Cheers to that.
Love it.
Gosh.
Cheers. Well, we had so many. Okay, so I actually like went through and counted how many books we featured on the podcast this year, not including author interviews, not including the random ones that got brought up, but like actual books that we covered over reading recaps plus the series special. And it was like 99 books. Like we were like,
Are you
under-
serious?
Oh my gosh,
Oh, wow.
next year, let's go full 100.
Yeah.
Megan said not good enough. We gotta go 100.
Gotta go
Well, and I
100.
think the only reason we didn't was because last year the January reading recap episode was just Megan and I talking about what was like how things were changing for the season, and that Emily and Jordan were joining the show, and that things were going to be a little bit different, and we were really so. I think that's like the
Crazy.
only reason we didn't pass that.
Crazy.
But yeah,
I'm
but
gonna
with
call
all of
it.
our reading recaps, with the holiday, with the spooky special episode, all of that, we featured 99 books, and who knows how many different authors between that and the author interviews. So
That is so cool. That is,
2026, we're gonna hit 100.
we
we
are
are.
Like right
feel
now.
very confident in that. Very,
Yeah.
very confident.
Gonna do it.
All that said, Megan, kick us off with the reads that were at the top of your list this year.
Okay, so I'm sure everyone did something similar, but I said my favorites for this year were just books that really stuck with me and that I either like would like to dive into deeper, like I would love to read more by this author or learn more about maybe some of the situations that they discussed, and I just want to tell the world about them. So for me, of course, number one, probably like truly number one. I know some people were like, yeah, not in any particular order, but this number one is in order. Notes on Your Sudden Disappearance, Allison Espach. I don't know how many times I have talked about this book. I have recommended this book. I have said, yes, it is so sad, but it is so freaking good. And it is one that like you just cannot, for me, I just cannot get it out of my head. Like I just always think about it, talk about it, whatever. So as of now, I am a completist of this author. I'm very proud of myself. Here, good job.
yeah.
Cannot wait for the next one, but by far and large, my number one book of the year. Second book, Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. So this one I read kind of like the back half of the year. It was just so incredibly compelling. It had sat on my TBR for like a few years, and I'm so glad that I took the time to read it with my ears. I listened to it, audiobook. It's just, again, like such a compelling, beautiful story. It's tragic, it's hopeful, and it's, coming of age in just a very desolated area by drug use. So, trigger warning on that. But just, I feel like if it's one that, again, it'll stick with you, or it's something where you might want to dig in deeper because this is not an uncommon issue in a lot of places. And I think on the episode where I talked about this one, I'd mentioned like there's Netflix series that kind of cover similar content, and I think there's a show on Hulu's called Dope Sick that covers this specific content. So
Yeah.
lots to go there. And then my third book, this one I did bring to the Halloween special, but it was just so fun. How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. So this is an author I definitely want to read more by him. It just was fun, truly creepy. Like I was genuinely scared. Definitely still think about the depictions of this evil like puppet entity that is described in the book. And if you grew up reading Goosebumps or Stephen King in any capacity, again, this book, this author, definitely right up your alley. Lastly, books I want to mention because I did read them this year, but I will do a full recap next year. A Little Life. Amazing, amazing, amazing.
I am excited to hear.
Amazing.
I'm curious to hear you talk about that one for sure.
The Women also cry, but amazing. And then A Spark of Light. And then I've actually recently finished another book, so I'll bring that one too. But pretty much anything I get over during our like little time off from the podcast, I will be sure to bring for next year. So happy reading, and I hope to have a book-filled holiday because I'm sure I'll get some for Christmas too.
Amen. I love it.
Love you. I have A Little Life and The Women sitting on my bookshelf. Like I have both copies.
Oh shoot, that's right. I forgot you haven't read The Women yet.
I haven't read
Yeah,
the one.
I haven't read it.
You will cry.
Yeah,
cry.
that is one that I like very, very much want to read over the holidays because apparently I want to cry. And I do have a flight, and somehow for some reason that tends to be the time when like I am into those, so maybe it's gonna be there. But I've had a little life for literal years, and
Yeah.
but every time I go to look at it, I'm like,
Not
are
yet.
we ready?
Are we ready?
I feel about the women. It's been like on my Kindle for a very long time, and I want to read it. I know it is going to just like rip my heart apart, and I look at it and I go, I'm not emotionally ready
I
today.
really do think January is a good time. I promise you, because
Yeah.
I remember reading it when it came out, and then when I went to see Kristen Hanna February of 2024 after it was like it felt like a really good season
Time.
to read it
Okay.
in.
That's good.
So,
I also, the first
if
half
that's
of 2025 for me was very much about escapism. So
yes.
the second half has been like catching up.
Yes. This
So
one,
now that you don't have to escape anymore, you can just
there you go.
have a normal
Blend them all
trajectory of
together,
reading.
blend them all together. I do. So, I mean, all of the ones on your list, like okay. So, in terms of Alison Espach,
That's what I've been
would
saying.
you say like Notes on Your Sudden Disappearance, is that the one you should start with? Because I feel like she's most known for The Wedding People. So, do you think? And I know that wasn't the first one you read of hers. So, would you recommend starting there, or would you recommend going with her more popular one and then venturing into her other works?
So I read her books backwards. I read The Wedding People first, which was her newest, and then Notes on Your Sudden Disappearance is her middle, and then The Adults is her oldest. I would say if you want to do it right, read them in order. Not that they have nothing to do with each other. It doesn't matter. Do what you want to do. But I feel like to get a good feel of what the author brings to the table, start there, because you can tell that there is a progression in her writing and like a change of tone. I would say, to be honest, she gets surprisingly a little more positive by the time we get to The Wedding People. So, I would say to do it right, to probably do her justice, start at the beginning, because I'm assuming The Adults, any author's very first like big novel is probably going to be their baby. They're like, it's super important. It probably has a lot. I haven't read it, and this is me projecting my thoughts, but I'm sure that this had a lot of emotion for her, and you can tell that in the writing. And so I think, just to be fair to everything that she brings, I would start at The Adults and then move your way through.
Okay.
But I did
I
not
would
do that.
actually ask Megan the same question because I was torn. I texted her because I was torn over what I was gonna do. I have only read Notes on Your Sudden Disappearance. I have
So
not
now
read
you can go
The
either
Adults.
way.
And I have not read The Wedding People. The Adults
Okay.
or the
So,
So-
I feel like I would have probably started with Notes on Your Sudden Disappearance, but now with that feedback, I think I will go chronological in terms
Yes.
of release
Really.
and do the adult
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, don't just go off of me. I loved it. This is like my cup of tea right here. But and with all of these, trigger warning, there's a lot. I think all of my books probably have a trigger warning of some sort. So
Megan,
So
like it
just-
goes without saying at this point, I'm a broken record.
proceed
Yeah.
with caution. But I think, I don't think you can go wrong with whatever order you choose.
Probably
But-
not. Honestly,
Yes.
probably not.
Okay, that's me.
Okay, well, I will pivot us just a little bit. Listener, honestly, all of these books have, at least the ones that I've brought, but I'm pretty sure so far from the list that I've looked at, we have referenced or talked about any of these books that we're going to talk about on the podcast in prior episodes. So just be aware of that. My top reads this year, what I absolutely have to give homage to, the ones that just stay with me, that I will always probably recommend. I'll start with The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. Listen, these girls, I am so grateful that all three of them didn't pressure me necessarily but knew that it was the right time and season in my life to bring a book like The 7-Year Slip into my life. And I absolutely want to be an Ashley Poston completist. I do. I like her writing style. She takes you on a beautiful journey. It is a well-written and worthy read. Probably more spring, summer time as we're, coming to you at the end of the year. But honestly, too, listener, before we started recording this podcast, I talked about how this has been the book I've been gifting out this year. I gave 2 of my girlfriends for their birthdays. I just had a local book club holiday brunch where we do an annual book exchange and you have to pick a favorite read from the year. And this was the one that I picked. And so definitely love this book. So, so good. So that one is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. And then, listener, I would be remiss if I did not mention Abby Jimenez, obviously, because she's my girl and I just love her to death, love her to pieces. So I'm going to bring 2 for the price of 1 real quick, and that is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, and then also Say You'll Remember Me, which was her release this year, 2025. Both books have stuck with me. Both books are sensational. They're absolutely phenomenal and have taught me a lot. The phrase that stays with me from Part of Your World is grace costs you nothing, right? And from Say You'll Remember Me, it's the importance of family, the emphasis on making memories, and just the prioritization of balance in your life, if you will. So I'm sure Abby Jimenez does have a 2026 release. Your girl is ready, and I'm so, so excited. So be on the lookout for that probably in our recaps in 2026. But anyway, that would be my second one. And how many times is too many times to mention Kristen Hanna in our podcast? Honestly, the limit does not exist.
No.
Yep.
The limit does not exist. Listener, it just does not. So I was lovingly pushed, encouraged to read The Nightingale this year. It was one of Kristen Hanna's that I had held off on because I knew it's going to break my heart. It's going to absolutely wreck the snot out of me. And of course it did, just like everything else. So, but it is also being adapted for a film, right? This has been in the works for years, listener. This is like not a spoiler thing by any means, but I think all of us can agree now is the time. You're going to read it. Make sure that you read it before that film comes out.
It's a requirement. You're literally not allowed to see the film if you haven't read it. Like, it's a requirement.
If Bree finds out, listener, that you
I
have
will
seen
show
the
up at
film,
your doorstep.
Brie, I feel like, was this the only episode or one of the episodes, like, we literally cried during our
We
discussion?
actually, I for some reason I remember both of us like in our shirts, like hiding because we were both crying, even though we did not do any sort of like video episode, and our clips were grainy at best. But we were in our putting our shirts above our forehead because we were both crying, and even that I don't even know what reread that was for me that we did that, but I was in the fetal position reading it on the floor in my living room, just sobbing. And Jared looked at me and he was like, "You knew what was going to happen. You've read it multiple times. What are you doing?"
what are you doing to yourself? That is hilarious. Yeah, no, but it's all honestly, listener, like I cannot recommend an author enough. I mean, it's all just such worthy reads. So, and it honestly too, if you want to know like what to expect from a Kristen Hanna novel, I would kind of argue The Nightingale's a really good one to start with. Not that the other ones are bad to start with or anything like that, but I mean, honestly, listeners, she's a historical fiction goddess. So, like, you want to start with, the earlier times. I mean, so good.
I think that's a great recommendation, and I do think for a lot of people, The Nightingale is kind of the gateway into the Kristen Hanna world. I know that it was for me, and I was forevermore obsessed.
Well, and I know that you're going to get to it later on as we talk about it, Brie, but my gateway, believe it or not, my gateway was The Great Alone.
Right on. That was
Oh.
mine.
And it's so
Yeah.
crazy.
Kind of perfect.
I think either one of those, honestly, listener, the only one I can tell you that I would recommend not starting with Kristen Hanna is The Four Winds. I'm not saying don't read it, because you should still read it. That shouldn't be your gateway into.
I
Okay,
don't
I'm
think
curious.
I think comfort and joy shouldn't be your gateway.
No,
because
yeah,
Megan-
don't do the Final Destination meets Christmas.
I'm super curious though, Jordan, why not Four Winds and why Great Alone or Nightingale?
No, good question. Because I was really angry with Kristen Hanna.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. Okay.
I
see. Yeah.
remember having such a reaction to The Four Winds.
Yeah.
That's not going to be one I ever want to pick up again. That's not
Nope.
going to be one
Same.
that I want to
Yep.
reread. That's just
Yep.
my own feeling. That's just my own opinion, because it was a really hard read. Can this family just not catch a break? Like,
I almost
it's so
yeah.
hard. Now, The Great Alone, I'll pick up again. The Women, I'll pick up again. The Nightingale, not a problem. Don't ask me why. I don't really know what what makes The Four Winds different for me. I don't know. Anyway, what were you going to say, Emily? I feel like I cut you off there.
No. I was gonna agree with you that I think Four Winds, Kristen Hanna usually like pulls my heart out, stomps on it, breaks it apart, tries to stitch it back together and kind of put it back.
Yes.
It doesn't always, it's an emotional journey. And Four Winds, and so I kind of expect that. So full disclosure, as I said, I have not read The Women and I haven't read The Nightingale. But both of them,
Wait. How did I not know
How
this?
did that slip through the cracks?
I have not read The Nightingale. So because I will read it, Brie, I promise, before the movie.
No.
But both of those, like, I look at those titles and I am like, I am not emotionally ready to like be destroyed, right? Like this is not my moment. So they're high on my TBR, but I feel like I need to be in the right headspace to
I
like
will say,
dive into
Emily,
it this year.
to caution you, because I'm sure you know, obviously it's World War II. We
Right,
know that
right.
about the Nightingale. I would say for women that are recently postpartum, expecting, there is a lot of children
that's a good
involved, and
call.
that can be very, very heavy and very
knew
hard.
that. So because I was on mat leave and reading like 10 books a month when I was like with my newborn, which was lovely, I was picking things like The 7-Year Slip, which I
Yes.
love.
Right.
I was reading Emily Henry, and I was reading like,
As
all
you
the
should.
things that were matching the like bright sunny weather outside. For that reason, Megan, I just like personally could not pick that up this year.
Yes.
It was just not in the cards.
Fair.
Will I
Understandable.
read it before the movie? Yes, Brie. I solemnly vow, with Megan and Jordan as my witness, I will read it before the movie. This year, I was not gonna send
No.
myself down that spiral.
And-
But I was gonna say, Jordan, I do agree with you that of all the Kristen Hanna books, Four Winds is the only one that made me angry. The ones I've read have made me sad and heartbroken and everything, but never angry. And I was angry after Four Winds.
But something
That's me.
else that you said, and I think
Yeah.
that this will kind of close the loop, I promise, and then we'll get to your books, Emily, after my honorable mentions real quick. But something that you said really stuck with me for a moment there too, which was she has such a brilliant way of ripping your heart out, stomping it up, and putting it back together. The Four Winds was the only book that I didn't feel
She
that.
didn't do that. Yes.
And that didn't happen for me. I didn't feel like my heart was put back together
Yeah.
the way that it
Is.
should have been. And I don't know if that's just like expectations or what have you. Like it's been a while since I've read The Four Winds. I feel like it still had a decent enough ending, not trying to spoil anything, but like
Yeah.
I think that's why I was angry. So anyway,
I have asked, sorry, Jordan, real quick. Bree or Megan, have you read Four Winds?
Yes.
I
Okay.
haven't.
okay.
My thought of
Yeah.
the books, and sorry, we're just like pounding this into the ground. I personally, not that I was angry or upset, I feel like it was the least emotional for me. And I
Interesting.
also feel like it was the slowest pace, which is why I would not pick it up again.
Yeah, that's
It's
good.
very prolonged, which obviously, like, shit has to happen. But I do feel like it just took a long time for me to like get into it, and then for the story to like even take you somewhere. Because
No,
it's
that's fair.
Dust Bowl America. Like, we know all you're doing day in and day out is sweeping dust, and I felt like every chapter was like, and another storm came through, and another storm, and I'm just like, okay, so then what happens after that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
Fair.
a valid
I
point.
think the reason I haven't read it is because if you combine all three of your takes on it, that's the general reaction that I get from just about everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Bree's like, I don't really know if
no.
I want to feel that to be.
Well, no, so here's the thing. I'll definitely read it. It's just in terms
You
of
should.
my Kristen Hannah order right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go
It-
for the women.
It
You
keeps
won't be
getting
sorry.
shuffled. Yeah,
Yeah.
it keeps getting shuffled down.
Yeah.
Fair.
Well, taking us out of this for a moment, and I will just give an honorable mention and a shout out. Listener, if you are as heavy into the bookish world, obviously, as all of us, you know that this week, Sophie Kinsella passed away, and I was absolutely devastated. I am not lying to you ladies when I said that I was crying when I texted you. I actually legit was. Sophie Kinsella, listeners that may not know, wrote us our beloved Shopaholic series. I brought, actually, to one of our very first recaps, I brought one of her books, Surprise Me, by Sophie Kinsella. Another really great one of hers is The Burnout. She was a very young 55 fighting a battle with glioblastoma, and I'm just so sad. So you best believe you may or may not see a Sophie Kinsella book or two coming your way from the reading recaps in 2026 because yes, I may have actually even picked up the Christmas Shopaholic audiobook off of Libby and might be listening to it right now because I was like, you know what? We're changing up the Christmas reading order. It's just required right now. So anyway, honorable mention for that. And then a couple other reads, of course, that I would be remiss if I didn't mention is, of course, Taylor Jenkins Reid, biggest release of the year, Atmosphere, followed by The Correspondent with Virginia Evans. We actually were talking about that at my book club today. And then, you know, listener, another book I couldn't stop raving about was All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. So absolutely, please, please, please pick those ones up because they are worthy reads.
Yeah.
So, yes, I will pass it to you, Miss Emily. Go for it.
Okay. Well, gosh, I think like we always talk about all these episodes, my TBR just keeps getting longer and longer and longer with, you know, all the recommendations, but that's okay.
Prioritize Nightingale, ma'am.
Well,
Yes.
I'm gonna have to give myself, I think, a little bit of time. I think just postpartum Emily, I just think I need a little
That's
space
fair.
for before I pick up that one, for everyone's benefit, frankly. But for me, I had a really hard time picking only 3, which is why I think the honorable mentions that I will go through after this might be longer than like any other list I've put together. But I had a really hard time narrowing this down. So this is in absolutely no particular order. But I think similar, Megan, when you kicked off the episode, just books that have like stuck with me, I still think about, I like have lent out or purchased copies, you know, for like my entire neighborhood at this point of some of these. These were the 3 that just were 2025 for me. So the first one, but no particular order, they're all great, is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I loved this book this year. Sci-fi is not really my usual go-to. I'm a historical fiction, romantasy, romance, dabble in thrillers kind of person. And so sci-fi is not usually one I pick up, but oh my gosh, I loved this book. I also read The Martian. So if you've seen like the movie or you've read The Martian, hot take, I think Project Hail Mary is better. The Martian's good. I think this I liked more.
You're not the only one I feel like I've heard that from, actually. And I'm about halfway through the audiobook myself as well. I'm loving.
I am getting it. Okay, this is about to sound really selfish. I'm getting this book for Jared for Christmas because I'm also like, oh, darn, and then I have to read it too.
Darn. Well, okay. You both bring up excellent points because I was going to say I listened to the audiobook and then I have the physical copy, so I was going back and forth. No spoilers, but I would actually recommend the audiobook on this one because there is a character in the story that is better portrayed on the audiobook than in any physical book.
Yep.
Okay.
I have my physical copy too, but I haven't then. I used an Audible credit and got the Audible, which
That's interesting though, that like the writing tone would be so different than the narrated tone.
I don't want to spoil anything. It's how this character speaks is better listened to than read in the book.
Interesting.
Okay. Either way, I have to get it because Jared won't listen to it.
But I will say the copy that we have is because my husband read it before I did. So it was also a thing of like, oh, it's on the bookshelf. Let me just like, sure. Right. He loved it. He also this was one that he was like, Emily, have you I'm sorry, but I need to beat out all these romance novels that are at the top of your list and you need to read this one next. Not wrong. It's great. So for any listeners out there that are looking for a book that you want to get a significant other or a guy friend, this is definitely one that I think, some of our romance novels that we talk about are great, but I'm not sure that the guy friends in all of our lives or significant others would go for them. This is one that would definitely be one that would go there. So
is this one that so my husband reads very specific books. Is this one where maybe he would be interested in branching out a little? So for context, my husband's an accountant. He reads a lot of how to have your own wealth at home, like self-improvement wealth things. He also reads a lot of he loves sports, so a lot of sports or he loved the book Shoe Dogs, the history of Nike. And so I'm just wondering if this might be something that I could have him branch out a little bit.
You probably could. What I'll just say that what my husband mentioned about this book that he loved, that I appreciate about Andy Weir in general, is he goes into a lot of the science. So it's a spaceship book. There's a guy that's in space and has to solve a bunch of problems. If you've kind of seen The Martian, you know the vibe. But all the science that Andy talks about and writes about is factual, could happen, it's not he does a ton of research into how everything would have to work together on the science front, which is what my husband was saying he really enjoyed. Is there wasn't a lot of fiction on the science side. The fiction was in the story, and there's a couple of leaps of faith right there. But the science is there. So if he likes the more technical, realistic facts, this is how physics works kind of books, this would be a good book for him.
Okay. And we've both seen The Martian. We have not read The Martian, but I'm wondering if maybe I could get him to now read this one.
Did he like The Martian?
Yes.
I think if he liked The Martian, then you're fine. My husband's not a big reader, right? And we started listening to this one together actually on our drive home from Missouri over Thanksgiving. And I told him, I was like, well, shoot, knowing this was a 16-hour audiobook, heck, we should have started it on the way there. Then we could have read the whole thing together. Emily knows we also listened to James by Percival Everett, which he loved. But my husband's also a Trekkie. He loves Star Trek. He loves science fiction
Oh, this
and
is his
all
book
of
then.
those things.
This is
It was so
totally
funny
his book.
though. This is not giving anything away, I promise, but I have to laugh because we reached a point in the book and it was like 10 out of the 11 hours into our drive and I had to put on Ed Sheeran. I told him, I said, too much science for me now. Sorry, brain hurty. I can't anymore.
Need something lighter.
Not computing. No, but this book gets picked back up tomorrow. And I'm a little bit further ahead than him in the audiobook now. So if all of that to say, Megan, if Kyle's a pickier, reader than you are, I think this will still be
It'll be
a
good.
decent one for him.
I put it in my cart.
And I will say, there is a movie coming out. I will
There is.
echo, this is if you do not read the book before seeing the movie, you're disowned. I'm sorry.
That
this
was
is
part
it for
of
me.
my motivation to read this one, I will say, too. I agree with you
Yes.
because I
Yes.
knew the movie adaptation was coming out, and I'm a huge Ryan Gosling fan.
Oh,
And
me
I
too.
was like, oh, absolutely, but I gotta read this book first.
You got to read it because I go back to there's a certain character that they better do, that they will do, I'm sure, but needs to be done well in the movie. We'll leave it there.
Okay.
So Project Hail Mary.
Perfect.
The next book, on equal footing, 'cause I can't pick one to
Bring
be
us down.
top of the others, is The Frozen River by
I need to
Ariel
read
Lawhon.
this. Like,
Oh my gosh. I think I've mentioned this multiple times. My copy is so dog-eared from like lending it out to friends. They're like, oh yeah, I need a new book to read. I'm like, have you heard of The Frozen River? So this is complete historical fiction. Like if you love historical fiction stories, this one absolutely 10 out of 10. I loved it. I haven't read any others by Ariel Lawhon. Hope I'm saying that right. But she's got a couple, like one that she dives into the story of Anastasia that I want to pick up.
I
With
really
Anastasia,
almost
yes.
started
For you.
listening to it. Because yes, I almost started listening to it recently, and then I went in a different direction at someone else's recommendation. But I'm going to for
It's
sure
on.
read or listen to that because when I tell you, like, I am slightly obsessed with the Romanov family.
Romanov?
Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Fun little fact we did not know about you, Miss Brie.
oh yeah, I think Megan knew. Megan,
Because you were like, hey, I'm listening to this podcast right now. Right away, they have an episode about Anastasia. We're going to listen to it. And I'm like, okay.
okay, but isn't that like the best? I've listened to that specific episode. I know
Yes,
exactly what podcast
very
you're talking
good.
about. I know I've listened to it recently because I was like, you know what, I haven't listened to in a while. I haven't listened to
one.
them talk to me
The
about
same
Anastasia.
story. Yeah.
And I was like,
So cute.
so I'm gonna do that. And I did, and every single time I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then that sent me down. I had to rewatch The Last Czars because like that docuseries is
Chef's Kiss. I've seen it 3 times.
so well done.
So good.
Like,
Where is that
yeah.
one at?
The Last Czars is on Netflix.
I
It
feel
is-
like I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it yet. I probably can get Mark to watch that one with
So
me.
good.
It
Maybe.
is
We'll see.
so good. It is so,
Okay.
so, so good.
Okay.
I
Okay.
will say, like, if you don't know anything about if you only know the animated version of Anastasia, which great movie, love it. Soundtrack,
Love it.
100%, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it.
Yep.
I've seen the Broadway show, like, love it. But if you don't actually know the story of the Romanov family, just like huge trigger warning, huge, massive blanket trigger warning for The Last Czar, for like anything, but it is wild. Okay, please continue. Sorry.
No, I'm with you because I will say that for historical fiction, the 2 time periods that get me to like instant read, instant buy whatever book would be 1, the Romanovs, and 2, the Tudors in England, like Tudor
Oh yeah, that's right.
royalty.
Because you're a Philippa Gregory girl.
I'm obsessed with Philippa Gregory, like all things. I've read almost all of her Tudor, like English Tudor monarchy. That is the quickest. I will move that right up to the top of the list. But The Frozen River is neither of those. Also equally good.
I know that one.
Oh.
I really do. January or February, I want to tackle it and read it so bad.
I feel like it'd be a good one because I mean Frozen's in the title, so like, you know, it has that vibe of January,
Winter
February,
vibe.
but it is historical fiction. There is a murder and a mystery around like a whodunit with it. I can't stop raving about this enough. Just read it and then call me. So, Frozen River. And then book 3, I know we've also talked about this one on a past reading recap, but I had to include Alchemized.
There you go.
The number, and the only notes I have here are just, oh my heart. Like the number of times that I have thought back to the characters in this story, certain scenes or situations. I feel like I did get a chance to read it twice this year, a little bit, because I did read Manacled and then Alchemized, 2 different stories. You don't have to do that. They're like completely different characters, but it is just 10 out of 10.
I'm curious because Brie and Emily, I know that you buddy read it together. So this is kind of a question for both of you, but have you come across like other fellow readers in your lives that have been raving about this one too? Not to try to say that it's not getting, but I just feel like yes, I know a ton of readers that want to pick it up. I just haven't heard a whole lot about it yet. I mean, outside, like, yes, I've seen some things, but I'm just curious if it comes up, you know, with fellow bookish friends.
I'll say my point, and then Brie, I'll turn it over to you. But I have seen more. It's like I think I've seen this more being read right now by like Bookstagram, like those that are heavy into Bookstagram.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody personally, like in my personal life, that has picked up Alchemized to read. But maybe everyone's getting it for Christmas, so they'll, you know,
That's fair.
read it then.
In my personal life, I've had more people ask me about it than
Same.
say they've been reading it.
Same.
I've had,
That was what I was wondering.
yeah, I've had a lot of people, a lot. I don't have that many friends. Like,
You're not getting stuck
Three of
on
them
the
are
street,
here.
is what you're
and
saying.
I'm like, they're all on this podcast.
Yes.
So, but in my personal life, the few people that that know I have a podcast and know I read, I've gotten more questions about it than anything. Like I've gotten a lot of, do I need to read Manacled and
That's
then
what I thought.
Alchemize? And I know we said it beforehand, but I think Emily and I are on the same page. I would almost recommend you don't, and
Yep.
just read Alchemized.
Okay.
But all that to say, I'm not disappointed. I know that that's confusing. I'm not disappointing that I read Manacled. However, my advice would be to not, and to just maybe read Alchemized. And if you want to go back and read Manacled later, then you can. But I do think that Alchemized deserves one. It sits in its own space, and it deserves its own space, and deserves that 100%. Suddenly the amount of research that went into that is mind-boggling to me, but is very obvious. I mean, you can look at the book and you know that it's not exactly going to be a light read.
Yeah.
But no, so I don't know, other than Emily, I don't know that I've talked to anybody that has actually read it, but I've had people ask about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Same. And
Yeah,
I would
that was what I
echo
figured.
Brie what you said about I would just read Alchemized, because I think I've talked about this on other episodes too. One of the things for me that I love to like explore and get into when I'm reading a fantasy or a romantasy story is the world building, like the creativity that the author brings to the magic system or the research they put into what the world looks like. And for me, that's a big kind of testament to if I'm going to like the book or like where it falls on my, you know, non-ranking ranking list. And Alchemized suddenly blew me away with the magic system. It's so unique. It's different from what I've read anywhere else. And I think it was a bit of a disservice for me, because I had Manacled like in the back of my mind, kind of doing that mental comparison when I wish I could have just given it like its own due without having that knowledge like chirping away at me, if that makes
It's
sense.
really hard to shut that off and to separate the two
Yeah.
entirely.
Yep.
And I will say it took me a while to do that
Yep.
in the book, and so I feel like that similarly. I feel like it would have been different had I not read Manacled.
100%.
I think the reading experience would have been different.
Yep.
So
Just read it. It's good. It's a thick book. January's a slower month. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I do have a few honorable mentions because I just can't stop talking about books, and all of these are wonderful. And I think we've all talked about these either together or on different reading recaps or previous years. But honorable mentions for me this year that did not make the top 3, but are equally fantastic. The whole Thursday Murder Club series. Like, we've covered that on so many episodes. Cooper's Chase, I love that crew. Fantastic. God of the Woods, I read that this year. I think others might have read it other years. I just shout out God of the Woods. If you haven't read it, this is your sign. The Housemaid, too, coming out as a movie. Read it first. Part 2 will blow your mind. I guarantee it. James, love. I've raved about James on like every platform I can.
It's so good.
It's just so good. And it has inspired, I think I've had a few messages from people that are like, yeah, I read James and now I want to read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. And like, go down that path.
I'm
So,
glad I read Huck Finn first. Not
Yeah.
to derail your list, but I appreciated your recommendation to read
definitely
Huck
fun
Finn
to
first.
do together. Then real quick, Remarkably Bright Creatures, The Spell Shop, Atmosphere, and Wild Dark Shore. So all great.
Dark Shore.
The other quick call out, and then Brie, I promise I will stop talking and go on and jump into your list. I just want a couple honorable ARC mentions. I think we do author interviews, right? All the time on the show here. Authors put so much into their books and releases that come out, and especially when they send out ARC copies. I just am so honored when I get one. It's like super exciting and above others. So I just want to call out the whole Strange Eden series. Book 3 by Gina Giordano came out this year, Color of Fire. It's Not Her by Mary Kubica is coming out early next year. Thriller, Megan, it's right in your camp, but highly recommend. The Sapiri series by Sorcha Ray, Cerulean Truth, Silver Tears, fantastic romantasy. Unseen by Christy Healy, phenomenal Irish folklore retelling, super fun. And then I Am Cleopatra by Natasha Solomon. Thanks to those authors, those were fabulous arcs. I loved them, and just wanted to give a shout out on some of those.
I love it.
I promise I'm done.
I have so much to read.
Not enough time.
Literally
Yeah,
not enough time.
I feel low key like overwhelmed by like literally have like over 100 books just waiting, and I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how
You just
it's
have
gonna
to
happen
accept,
because it just
Megan, that that's never gonna change.
I know, but I don't.
It's okay.
I'm a checker. I want to check them off,
understand.
and I don't like that they keep growing before I even have a chance to get to them.
It's the privilege of this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a privilege. That's a very nice way of saying it. It's a privilege.
It's both a
I am
blessing
honored.
and
I'm
a
proud to be
curse.
here and happy to be here. It's overwhelming at the same time.
It's a blessing and a curse. It's
All
a
at the same time.
privilege and a burden. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, I will also say that I had a very hard time. These are in no particular order. I didn't include arcs. I also want to mention, I didn't include any books that were author interviews, because I just could never be able to pick. I also feel like I have some bias in that, with the author. How do I want to say that? With the author interviews, I feel like I have some bias because I almost always fall in love with them in talking to them. And all that to say, we had some conversations on the show this year that I still think about. I still think about their books. They totally changed aspects of how I think, perspectives, like what I want to carry in to my day to day, what I want to carry into conversations. So all that said, like listen to those episodes, definitely still check out those books. I could never like pick. So I just don't include. I'm like, "Oh, no, can't include that. Sorry." Okay, other books, no surprise here. We knew Chris and Hannah was going to come back again. The Great Alone was for sure hands down a top read for me this year. I told the ladies at Prosecco and Prose, the other another book podcast, I literally said to them, I was like, it altered my brain chemistry this year. Which shout out to them. That's another great book podcast. Like if you
Yes.
need one, you really want to immerse yourself, I highly, highly, highly recommend. And this past season in particular, when they featured banned books, was so incredible.
So
So
fun.
definitely give them a listen. But The Great Alone in particular, I want to tell everybody about it. I want to talk to everybody about it. I know I featured it in a reading recap, and at the time I was on a vacation with Jared, and I mean we were literally walking, and I was like, I'm going to tell you about this book because I have to talk about it. I just have to. And it is right up there with The Nightingale. I know I mentioned that before, but I just absolutely loved this story. Trigger warnings obviously because it's Chris and Hannah, and I definitely went in blind and didn't know certain aspects of what was going to happen, but this is a lot about the demons that you can face within an abusive family while also having to face the elements of homesteading in Alaska. And so, but it is an absolutely brilliant story. The setting of being in Alaska was so fascinating and so well done in showing showing exactly what it takes to survive there and survive in the winter. And then when you add in the element of things inside maybe not being the best, it had me on the edge of my seat. Like I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. So another one, this doesn't come as a surprise to anybody here, is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. Here's the thing. Two Shepherd Kings, the duet that she had out, I was on board. This book absolutely solidified for me that Rachel Gillig is a world building master. She is a creative storyteller. She tells stories and has a prose unlike anything I'm reading from anyone else. So if you want something just so unique, like she has to be one that you turn to. I highly, highly, highly recommend. I would even recommend it to people that maybe only like light fantasy. I just think that her storytelling is so impeccable. So The Night and the Moth is up there for me, and I cannot wait for book 2. Like, can't wait.
I love this one.
So, question for you, Brie, because you mentioned, right, the first half of the year really being like about escapism for you. And then, as you went into the second half of 2025, kind of transitioning out of that. So, was Rachel Gillig like one of your escapism authors? If there are listeners out there like you, I would say, that want or need, they're looking for that. Is this the corner they should turn? Is my question.
I mean, yeah. So yes and no. I think that she should be read. If you're a fantasy reader at all, I think she should be on your list 100%, whether or not you're looking for escapism. When I needed escapism earlier in the year, I don't know that she would have been my like first one. I wanted something that was going to be super easy to read. And
Yeah.
it's not that her books they're not difficult by any means, but they're not your standard fantasy or maybe a stereotypical fantasy, which I still love. Honestly, like I wanted to include them in this list, and I was like, spice it up, Brie, like put some variety in there. Because there were some books so I will say when I needed that full escapism, like Spark of the Everflame, I devoured those 4 books. I wasn't sleeping a lot at the time. And so I was straight up reading those books from like 2 in the morning till 5 in the morning. And I just couldn't put them down. Like, so highly recommend that if you really want just that type of world. There's something so different about Rachel Gillig's style to me, that sets her apart from some of those other ones. And I love them all. I do. But I have the most massive crush on Rachel Gillig.
I love it.
I will second everything you just said, Brie, because I read The Night and the Moth this year, loved it, fantastic. And I just finished the duology, The Two Twisted Crowns, and
Thank you.
yeah, and then Shepherd King, right?
Two
Those are the
Shepherd
second
Kings,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. Excellent stories. I think, Jordan, you were thinking about The Two Twisted Crowns and Shepherd King. I think
Yeah,
you
we had
love
briefly
them.
talked about Buddy reading that one, right? Because the first one was The One Dark Window.
Yes.
One Dark Window. Yes. Jordan,
One Dark
you
Window
would
and Two
love
Twisted
them.
Crowns, but it's the Shepherd King duology.
There
Got
you
it.
go.
Yes.
Jordan, you would love them. The world
Okay.
building, like
Okay.
you would absolutely love them. They're
Okay.
phenomenal.
Okay.
I can't wait for book 2 of The Night and the Moth.
I can't wait. Bartholomew, like, oh my gosh, my heart. Okay, so another book on my list that has the reason I'm putting it up there is because this book has stayed with me in ways that I never fully expected. I really enjoyed it and was so intrigued, but then I continue to think about it like we've talked about with some other ones, and so that is The Favorites by Lane Fargo. I brought this to a reading recap. This is about the two ice dancers, and it's very much following kind of everybody is in the process of filming a documentary for them, and so it's told a little bit interview style. If you like Taylor Jenkins Reid, you will like The Favorites by Lane Fargo, like hands down. Similar in terms of the storytelling style, especially with Daisy Jones and the Six, although totally stands on its own. But just if you need a comparison, I just did not expect this one to linger the way that it did, and yet I keep thinking about it. I keep bringing it up to people when they're looking for certain examples, like The Favorites for sure. It was definitely a different story, and I mean, I think ice skating's about to have like its moment, or is having its moment on TV with all sorts of series. So if you even fall into that or are interested in that world, it was really, really good. Also a great one to audiobook, I would say, as well, because of the interview style. And so it reads a lot like with different narrators coming in and giving their point of view. It'll
Like Daisy Jones and the Six.
Yes.
Okay.
It'll
Okay.
make you laugh. It'll make you cry. You're, anticipating. You want to know what happened. You want to know what happened at the Olympics that totally ruined their careers and everything, but it's going to play it all back for you. So I will say I just am very partial to like a story about a woman who wants to control her own narrative, and that is like a big piece of that story as well. Honorable mentions, the only reason I didn't have it in those top 3 was Alchemized, because Emily was going to talk about it, so I like knew it was going to be mentioned, but if you needed second input there. I would also say other honorable mentions for me were The Perfect Marriage. I know Megan had told me one point, she's like, literally don't do anything else, like just go read that book, and finally got to it. It was just as good as you set it up to be, so highly recommend. The Housemaid for sure, can't wait to watch the movie. And then also One Golden Summer, like loved that book, so I had to put that in there. Funny Story by Emily Henry. And then I also read Onyx Storm this year, and I'm gonna put that up there because I am right on that bandwagon of needing book 4, and book 3 left me on that cliffhanger that I'm desperate for what's next.
Do we think book 4 will come from Rebecca Yarros before Sarah J. Maas gets her act together for ACOTAR?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there
There's
you
no
go.
hesitation.
Okay.
There was
Period.
zero.
All right. Question though, for everybody. Speaking of series and those coming out, what is everyone's what most anticipated release next year? Like, do you have a book or an author or a release coming out in 26 that
That's
you?
hard.
And it
I
can
mean,
be
I
no.
said
Like, you just, yeah.
I said Abby Jimenez is obviously coming out with one. We know Carly Fortune is coming out with one as
That's on my
well.
list for sure.
Emily Henry has not announced anything for 2026 that I'm aware of.
The
but
girl's busy. She's busy.
Come on.
We want our book. No, I'm kidding. That was.
Come on. But other Emilys in our lives, I am excited. There will be an Emily Giffen one to come July 2026. So
Okay.
I probably am most excited for that one and the Abby Jimenez one at this point,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Those
are
are
the
the ones that come to the top of my mind.
Not standalones, but in terms of series, I'm thinking about the second, The Night and the Moth, like I just mentioned.
Yep.
I am very excited for the second one in Shield of Sparrows. By Daphne Perry. I loved that this year. It was so much fun. So I'm really looking forward to that one. And I am also very much looking to book 4 in the Spark of the Everflame series for sure. Because like I said, those were books that I carried around with me. I told you I was like reading them at 2 in the morning, but then also I was reading them in the car. I was carrying them with me to keep reading. So those are ones I'm like looking at my Goodreads to be like, what's coming out?
Right.
Yeah. I'm with you. I have to read Shield of Sparrows. That's
You
the,
do.
that's the other one I haven't, and I haven't read Spark of the Everflame, and both on my talk about the never-ending list. On the list.
Right.
Megan, do you have one?
See, that's the thing. Like, I feel like I don't. I feel like either I've just been really bad at keeping up with everything coming out, or I don't care enough, and I'm just happy when something
Oh,
pops
good.
up.
I was just curious. For me, I think we've said a couple of them, but I'm excited so I read When the Moon Hatched, and book 2 comes out, the Ballad
Okay.
of Dragons. So I'm really excited for that one. I think we already mentioned the Carly Fortune One Perfect Storm comes out. And that is on my radar. Night and the Moth sequel, talked about that one. But then the other ones that are on my kind of radar for next year is I really loved The Spell Shop by Sarah Becker.
Yes, you mentioned that
I
one.
want to read The Greenhouse, and then she has Sea of Charms coming out next year. They're all standalones, but kind of a similar vibe. Cozy romantasy is a new genre that I like. When I talk about wanting the happy ending books, and they're really fun, and there's like nothing bad ever that happens in them. They're really nice in between some of the heavier stuff that we read. So I'm excited for
So
that.
that's a Kristen Hanna palette cleanser. List.
100%.
That's
So-
what we call those.
Yep, it's the best palette cleanser. The Spell Shop talks about, I think I touched with it. They open like a jam shop, so it's all about raspberry jam. It's great.
Yes.
And I'm excited for that. And then I mentioned Ariel Lawhon. I hope I'm saying that correctly. She has a new historical fiction coming out called The Pirate Queen.
Oh, yes. Done.
Yeah.
I don't need to know anything else.
I don't know.
I might be pre-ordering that.
Yeah,
Hold on
it's
a
just called The
second.
Pirate Queen, and I'm like in the cart, done.
You don't need any other information.
No other notes. Sign me
Oh,
up.
there's not even I don't even see a cover.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like
need that.
that fall. But I'm like, yep, Anastasia first, then the Pirate Queen. I'm there. So
Wow.
I just looked at Goodreads just to like see what was coming out. Didn't find anything yet, but most read this week.
oh,
One of them was The Housemaid, and you guys both mentioned it. So I think everyone's gearing up before the movie comes out.
yeah,
You're understanding the assignment, Bree.
Yes,
yes.
they've understood.
So so that is one that like Jared wants to go to the movie with me for that one. I mean, I've been like hyping it up. I want to go. he decided that he wasn't going to be here the weekend that it opened. And
Then he cannot see it with you.
well, so the other day we were talking about it because I was like, I might just go by myself. And he's like, no, I want to go. And so we were talking. I go, fine, I'll wait, but I'm not going to be happy about it. Guys, last night I literally had a dream. I told him about this already. He can probably hear me. I had a dream that I went to see the movie by myself and then was in my head like, and how am I going to pretend that I didn't go see the movie and go watch it again?
That is too
Hilarious.
funny. I'm gonna go see it. I'm traveling home for Christmas, and so I'm gonna go see it with my sister, and then her sister-in-law and a friend of mine. So it's gonna be 4 of us that are gonna go see it. So
Fun.
Super excited. I will say in terms of adaptations, I'm also excited about the Love Hypothesis adaptation next year. I'm excited about that one. That'll be good. People We Meet on Vacation adaptation coming out over the holidays. Looking forward to that for sure. For sure. I can't wait to read that. So, well, I hope everyone's holiday is filled with lots of books,
Yes.
new or ones already sitting on your shelf. Thank you. Sorry, still recovering from sickness, so sometimes it gets stuck in my throat. Thank you for listening, for being a part of our season 3. If you would do us the kindest thing and rate, review, or subscribe. I know it says that in the outro, but this is me personally asking that if you have liked any of these episodes, whether you've listened to one or all of them, like, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. We have so much to look forward to in season 4 coming at the beginning of 2026. But thank you for being here. Thanks for joining us in this corner of the bookish world.
Yes. Yes.
Cheers.
And cheers, my friends.
Thanks so much for listening. The Narratives and Nightcaps podcast is a production of The Craft Co. with intro music created by Remington Haynes.
Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow at Narratives and Nightcaps on Instagram or visit our website, narrativesandnightcaps.com.
Sign up for our newsletter to always know what we're reading next, which authors are joining us on the show, and for extra bookish and beverage info.
Connect with our additional co-hosts, Jordan and Emily, as well.
You can find me on Instagram at Cozy Reads and Sips.
And you can find me on Instagram at books.bottles.
Cheers!
Cheers.